Okay.
Josh, project manager at Southeast Exteriors. Today we're going to be learning the double hung window procedures of opening and closing and some of the kind of the basic issues that I run into with clients. This is the double hung window in Terratone. This one has one lock on it, but you will see it with two locks depending on the width. The first thing I always tell people is kind of the LL rule. Left means locked, so anytime you see your handle to your left hand side, that means it's locked. The first thing we're going to do is all the way open. You're going to hear a slight little click. If it doesn't click all the way, that means there's something mechanically wrong inside the lock, which we can fix very easily. This one has the optional handle that we can put on there. They do not come with the handle on there. We have to add that on an aftermarket. You go ahead and once it's to your right all the way open, you can just lift it up with one hand. Depending on the width, sometimes it takes two hands. There isn't, for purposes of tipping it in, there is not a perfect spot. You don't have to get a ruler out. Normally what I do is with a client, if they have a bar stool in their kitchen or just a regular chair, I usually put the bottom of the window sash at the height of the chair. And the reasons for that is once we tip this in, it'll be parallel to wash it. We're going to have two little L pieces here that slide down on both sides. Depending on the height of the window in the home, a lot of times we put these up high just so they're not visually in the way, or they get blinds or curtain or drapes or something caught up in them. You're going to go ahead and slide both of these down, snap them into the frame on both sides. The window will not fall on you. This is just ready to release. Put your hand on the lock and it will come to you. And the reason that I put it about the height of the chair is so that way you don't have to hold it up while you're washing it or cleaning it. That way, maybe a towel, depending on if it's cushioned there, that way you don't scar up the inside of the window. But also, depending on people's interior, sometimes people will have window ledges. This will actually naturally go all the way down. This is perfectly fine. The reason I sometimes don't do that is we don't want to scar up people's casing on the bottom side. We're done with these, so put these all the way back up. Then you can put your hand on the receiving side of the lock, push it all the way down, and I'll show you what I'm doing when I do this. It makes a loud rattling noise. It's just natural. It's the way it works. What I'm doing is when I'm releasing the springs to the interior, I just cup them with my fingers here and pull in. Once again, this can go all the way down, back up again, to clean the window, back and forth. When we put it back up to put the window back together again, it's going to make a kind of a really loud rattling noise, but that's perfectly fine. You cannot push the window too far, don't worry about that. Just pull this back into you, and back in. This is the most important step that people forget. You have to go down about an inch to re-engage. I don't know if we're going to be able to hear it, but I call it a banjo twang. You can hear just a little bit of it's the balancing in there, the springs re-engaging. Then you can go back up again. When you come back up with this one, you can go ahead and kind of help these in a little bit. You don't have to, you can actually kind of bang it in there, but just you can kind of help these in a little bit, and they'll rattle back in there again. You'll hear it reconnect, and you're back down again to lock. Some very common questions that we have and issues. Sometimes I'll have people call me and say, my window won't lock, it won't line up, something's wrong with my lock, it won't line up. I'm pushing down. The issue is, especially if you have blinds or drapes, the top isn't up all the way. That's the issue. So 99% of the time when people say, my window's out of alignment and I can't lock it, the top isn't up. Especially on windows that are low to the ground, they get very, very high. Some people can't see that. So that's the first thing. Another very, very common question is the play. These have play both sides, depending on how OCD the client is, or sometimes you'll see a big gap on one side and not a gap on the other side, or vice versa. That's all natural play, and it's supposed to be that way. Other issues that we normally run into with the windows, every single part of this window is a component. So one of the parts, and the reason that RVA decided to make the windows this way is, God forbid the neighbor kid's baseball, a rock, something breaks this glass. We do not replace the individual glass. We replace the entire sash. You cannot replace just the glass. And so to do that, I'm not going to do it now, but there's two screws right here. I can take this entire sash out and replace the new sash within about 5 minutes. The same thing with the top sash here. It does the exact same thing, where I can open it and take the entire sash out and replace the entire sash. That way. So that being done there. That's basically the issues that we have with the double hung window. Every one of our double hung windows also has a number on a sticker up in the top that shows me the size, the shape, where it's at in the house, what it's made out of, every single thing about that window. So when the client does have an issue with the window over the years, all they have to do is read us off that number without having schedules to come out, and that way we can solve the problem before we get there. The screens, just like with all of them, not only the double hungs, are going to be made out of stainless steel mesh. It is waterproof as far as it's not going to rust, it's not going to corrode over time. All you have to do is pull the two clips into you and release the window out, the window screen, excuse me. The one thing that we also tell clients is every one of these windows is measured to the 16th of an inch specifically to your home. So even if you have an entire wall of windows that all look the same size, they're not. They're all going to be slightly different. So do not take off a screen and try to put it in, stack them like a bunch of cards and go put them back on the windows again. So anyway, that's the basic ins and outs of the double hung window. Every single thing is a component, and everything can be replaced.
I have a question.
Yes.
How do those sashes coming out not compromise safety, or, you know, when you're pulling the window sashes out, or like air getting through or anything like that?
They've really overcompensated with the strips here. They've got this interlocking, there's these two L shapes that go connect together on that part there. So, the only way to tip these windows in is from the inside. You cannot do this from the outside.
Okay.
So there's no way somebody can figure out how to keep your lock open and figure out how to tip these in that way. That can't be done that way.
Gotcha. Awesome. Thanks, Josh.
Yep.
Good job. You should be on TV. Can you do the door?
Yep. Oh, that door was wrong.
Yeah.
You can do the sliding window too.
Okay. That's great stuff. What does AEAF lock mean?
Yeah. I'll do this one, maybe, or I can do a glider too, do it like the over. At least 10.